Well, hello, hello. Welcome to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Sorry about the technical difficulty. You know how these sticky keys are in terms of like laptops and stuff like that. I feel like sometimes it's hard to like, I don't know, it just feels like it's like sandpaper gliding across where your mouse is supposed to be. But I'm not kind of like maybe just like a rub on the desk, it'll help, right? Help the smooth and the consistency. But anyways, guys, thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for today lined up. We have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We have our WWE NXT preview. And we're also going to get into NXT Battleground. We're also going to get into New Japan Professional Wrestling's Dominion, which is happening on June 9th, which is a Sunday. And we're going to cap it all off with Tuesday. Of course, we have Eric's Tuesday today in wrestling history. We jump into my DeLorean. If you guys, watched the old Back to the Future, like we're going to go back in time. We're going to look at some instances. We are on today, June 4th. We're going to go back in time, and it's going to be dope. It's going to be dope. It's going to be fun. But before I move on, before anything, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMC podcast.net. Give me your questions, your thoughts, your predictions, and give me your own promotions. Give me, something that you're thinking about. Give me a shout out of where you're listening from. Be like, hey, it's Dale from, Springfield, or, it doesn't really matter. Just, send some love here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love, peace, love, and positivity all the way. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show so you guys can see more of this guy. Again, the link is at the GSMC podcast.net. All right, so let's go ahead and dig right on into it. Our first segment we have our WWE Monday Night Raw review. So just to waste a little time, let's go ahead and jump on into the subject matter. So it started with Liv Morgan, basically patting herself on the back, saying that she was the reason she put Rhea on the shelf, which is highly, it's untrue. It's not like it's something that Rhea Ripley or it's something that Rhea could have controlled or even Liv Morgan could have controlled. But I feel like Liv Morgan, the way she's kind of going right now, it does seem like she's kind of larger than life in terms of Monday Night Raw. Like I'm kind of happy to see them kind of push her. I felt like maybe there would have been a little reluctance pushing Liv because her botched moves, her lack of trying to cut a good promo, and just like I don't know, like you see her demeanor, she doesn't really look like that much of a serious champion, so to speak. But the way WWE is kind of doing it, they're doing it patiently, and I feel like they're doing a good job. It all depends how it's gonna all play out, into the she said she sent Becky Lynch into an early retirement, which is always like a foreshadow. It's always a foreshadow. That just means Becky Lynch is definitely 110% going to sign with the WWE. I know a lot of people be like, Eric, what do you mean? Like, that's just something people always say, but it's I've watched wrestling for a long time, my whole entire life. I took a little break during the dark ages, but eventually came back to wrestling. And being brutally honest, whenever somebody said something like that, there's always a shocking return when they come back, and there was like, like no way. Then Michael Cole's like, oh, Becky must have signed a contract. She's with WWE. Like there's always got to be something like that. So and of course, she keeps kissing Dominik Mysterio. Dominik, kind of having this overall. Um, Romantic relationship. I don't really mind romantic relationships, but I swear in the past with WWF, it's always been kind of not the best idea. I know there's been some situations where it's kind of worked out. Obviously, you have Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Obviously, what didn't work out was Bobby Lashley and Rusev and Lana and Rusev and Dolph Ziggler. Like Dolph Ziggler, Vicky Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero. I feel like Eddie Guerrero and the Chinaman was, it was pretty cool, but it wasn't really like too like explicitly romantic. So I feel like in that case, it's like a pass, kind of like how Rhea Ripley and Dominik Mysterio's kind of was. Not really like any like seducing or rubbing of the hair or like touching the chest, like, oh, Dom, like, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't really like that. So, obviously there's some discrepancy in terms of that. Next we see Sheamus finally getting his hands on Ludvig Kaiser. This match was actually one of the best matches in Raw so far ever since, Paul Levesque took over. I liked how Sheamus was able to hang inside the ring with the younger Ludvig Kaiser. Just shows that Sheamus still has a lot in the tank. He's definitely the Celtic Warrior. He ain't going nowhere. Definitely the respect is still up there, and I guess they got a lot of backstage praises and stuff like that for the match. So I just thought that was cool. It's always cool to give credit whenever credit's due. And Ludwig Kaiser did such a great job, and so did Sheamus. And they tore the house down. They tore the house down. Of course, Ludwig Kaiser, he controlled the match. And another thing that I really liked is that Ludwig Kaiser, he won clean. He won clean. Well, he won clean-ish. He won heel clean. Heel clean means that you either basically no outside interference, no weapons or anything like that. He targeted the knee of Sheamus, which ultimately kind of led to, the demise and stuff like that. And then you saw the prepare QR code pop up from Uncle Howdy. So, that's coming up pretty darn soon. Next, we have Dragon Lee against Finn Balor. Of course, Dragon Lee was, kicking ass. And then Carlito and JD McDonough of the Judgment Day came and, had to help out Finn Balor. Finn Balor, they beat down Dragon Lee. Strowman comes out to help. Of course, as well as the LWO, with Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee. Now you have Braun Strowman, which is kind of cool. I kind of like how they're kind of keeping that open. I would like to see potentially, maybe since Damien Priest can't really rely on JD, Finn, or Carlito to kind of get the job done, to be like, you know what, maybe I got to do it myself. Maybe we see, because I really honestly want to know why they brought Braun Strowman back to the WWE if it wasn't going to be because Uncle Howdy. So I was hoping that he was going to be on the stable. Obviously, you have Eric Rowan, you have a couple other names that I was like, yeah, that's a little surprising, like Dexter Loomis, Nikki ASH, and then of course you have Bo Dallas. So it should be interesting to kind of see what they do with that. Hopefully they try to pursue Braun Strowman in a way, because right now I feel like he's just kind of floating around. He has his, obviously he has his vendetta against this whole Judgment Day thing. He wants to take him down, which is pretty cool. It can work out for a couple of weeks, but we had 2 weeks of it, so tops, we have about maybe a week or 1 week pushing it of Braun Strowman not having a purpose here on Monday Night Raw. So then Carlito was ordered to fight Braun Strowman, and not really jumping too into that. We'll get into that later. Sami Zayn comes out to address the WWE Universe. He challenges Chad Gable, wants to be man to man, but out comes the Alpha Academy. Speaking on Chad Gable's behalf, it was Chad Gable's that classic jerk. He's that classic bully. I thought once when they turned him heel, it was a death sentence for his career, but it's actually turning out kind of good. Like he's doing really, really well. And once when there's always that bully role, there's always someone that could always kind of step up and not be the hero, but like step up and try to deter. Kind of like there's Otis. Otis could stop it, or maybe Sami Zayn could stop it. But now you have a WWE Intercontinental Championship match at Clash at the Castle. Sami Zayn is going to try to shut up Chad Gable. Is it for the best, or did he just basically sign his title away? You have a pissed off Chad Gable, but this could possibly be a setup for Otis turning on Chad Gable, creating that, Shawn Michaels Diesel kind of thing where, you have them fighting against each other at SummerSlam. So, it could be great. It could be great. So Chad Gable ended up coming and attacking Sami Zayn to much chagrin. And he got his match. Once again, it was kind of crazy because once when he was kind of dogging Maxine Dupree, he called her, a failed Barbie experiment, talking about back when they were doing the models where the LA Knight was there and you had Mansoor and all that. And it was an obvious fail. He brought that up and I was like, ooh. Then he brought up Akira Tozawa being a ninja in 205 Live and not really working out for him. Went into trying to go after the 24/7 title. He brought that up and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then lastly, he brought up Otis. He couldn't even hold on to his Money in the Bank briefcase. And when he said that, oh my God, I was like, no freaking way he just mentioned that. That's crazy. That's crazy. But, feel bad for Otis. Hopefully he, is going to bounce back, beat the hell out of Chad Gable. He deserves it. So, we have that to, kind of go back on. Otis ultimately stuck to the Alpha Academy. He was stuck in a rock in a hard place. He could have either fought Chad, but he went after Sami, gave him the world's strongest slam, obviously trying to help Gable. Gable was so proud of him. And it's just so demonic. It's just so demeaning at this point. Next, we have Braun Breaker against Ricochet. Ricochet is he was injured still with his ribs, with his rib injury. So Braun Breaker, he could have fought Ricochet, I feel like, at 100%, but that didn't really work out that way. Braun Breaker still, I feel like, in my eyes, is kind of being downplayed on the Raw roster. I feel like they don't have a good spot for him. I feel like they're kind of pushing look strong, make him look dominant. Yeah, dude, that only works if you have him fighting actual matches instead of fighting jobbers on a day-to-day basis and attacking people like Ilya Dragunov and Ricochet. So, absolutely crazy. I don't like the way they're taking his character at all. But once again, it was a decent match. There was nothing dirty. Braun Breaker is absolutely impressive. I'm not trying to say he's not. But I'm done. I'm done with these squash matches. I'm done with these backstage attacks. And obviously, you had Ilya Dragunov come out to the rescue, or else Ricochet would have been killed. So now you have a match with Ilya Dragunov and Braun Breaker heading toward, WWE Raw next week. So, and then next we're going to move on. We have Kiana James against Natalya. Shocking win by Kiana James, but I loved it. I liked how they're trying to push young talent. Obviously, you had Lyra Valkyria come so close to the Queen of the Ring crown. And then you have Ilya Dragunov being absolutely impressive. You have Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown fighting people like the LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton. So definitely love how Triple H is kind of handling that situation. But Kiana James, she beat Natalya. I thought this was a huge layup for Natalya. I thought this was ultimately kind of like a build up for her challenging Jordan Grace in the future, but that didn't really work out. Next, you keep having Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross keeps trying to break up the New Day. He said, "Hey Woods, you don't have to follow him around anymore." And Woods kind of looked at him like he was like, "Dude, are you crazy?" But he looked a little intrigued. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see, are we heading toward a New Day breakup? Possibly, because Big E's not coming back. He's not coming back anytime soon. It's been reported that he is going to go under stem cell surgery, and hopefully to fix his neck fusion surgery. So hoping the best for Big E. And I just don't want to see I just don't want, I'm all down for having singles careers. I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. But a team like the New Day that's been around for so long, I think they're 10-time tag team champions. If you're going to break them up, and if you have to do their singles career right. And they tried doing that with other tag teams. And so far, WWE has been, as opposed to successful careers, like it's been kind of a goose egg. Of course, there's always the underlying, there's always the exception and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just don't, I kind of hate the way they're hinting at a possible New Day breakup because, I wouldn't be a really huge fan of that. But that's just me. That's just me. Next, we saw Braun Strowman fight Carlito. Once again, this is one of those matches. It's like, okay, it's kind of building. Maybe this could be a reason why the Raw ratings kind of weren't as high. It's shown they declined this week, and obviously had JD McDonough and Finn Balor. Braun Strowman got a 1-2-3, just like a face first, like just slam it to the mat. Like who does that? Like now in nowadays wrestling, like you can't just go down after like a face first, But of course, you saw Dominik Mysterio come back, and the reason why this is so prominent is because Liv Morgan stood between the monster among men, Braun Strowman, and her new squeeze, Dominik Mysterio. So this is kind of heating up. This is getting even the Judgment Day, even Finn Balor, who was totally against Liv Morgan and the idea of Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio because you have Rhea Ripley and Mommy. I think right now she's trying to play, favorites with the Judgment Day. She wants the Judgment Day to trust her. She wants to get in close with Dominic Mysterio. And as soon as Rhea comes back, maybe there could be a little bad blood between the Judgment Day and, their newly acquired teammate, Liv Morgan, or not a teammate, more like an ally kind of thing. So I thought that was crazy. Next, you see Sonya Deville once again backstage on Monday Night Raw, confronting Starks and also Shayna Baszler, and they blatantly said they were like, "Hey, you got to leave us alone, man. You got to leave us alone. There was a women's world tag team championship match. It was an impromptu match. You saw Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill go out and fight Stark and Baszler. The match was a no contest. You had interference, which was all right. The other tag team that attacked, they're trying to make a name for themselves. Hopefully, it's kind of building up to like a triple threat match, heading toward that Clash of the Castle. That would be pretty badass. Next, you see Jey Uso makes his appearance in the crowd, and he declares himself in the Money in the Bank. I guess the Money in the Bank on Saturday, 4 weeks away, which isn't. I feel like these WWE pay-per-views and these PLEs are going by so fast. Like it's always like one after another, like bing, bang, boom. I feel like we just had King and Queen of the Ring. Like it's crazy. It's happening now. We have Clash at the Castle. And then, then you're gonna have Money in the Bank, and dang, this WrestleMania season is going by post WrestleMania season is going by pretty fast. Next, you see Lyra Valkyria attacked by Io Sky. They're gonna fight each other next week on Monday Night Raw. The New Day against AOP was an easy win for the AOP. They're trying to tear apart Woods and Kofi Kingston. It's going to be pretty crazy to kind of see if that actually works. Karrion Kross could be pretty manipulative, and he's the leader. He's kind of like the leader of the Final Testament. He could bring the dark side out on anybody. So obviously, you kind of have AOP kind of on it right now. So it should be interesting to kind of see that moving forward. Next, we have the main event. We have Rey Mysterio, the Hall of Fame luchador, against Damien Priest. It was well fought, surprisingly, despite the size differential. That just shows these two dudes could definitely put on a wrestling show. Never really discriminated or never really kind of talk crap about their in-ring capabilities. It was well fought. It wasn't bad. You saw Dragon Lee fighting Carlito, and then ultimately Drew McIntyre was attacked by Drew McIntyre attacked Damien Priest. Damien Priest was still able to pick up the win. It was kind of crazy because I feel like Drew McIntyre's attack on Damien Priest ultimately kind of backfired. He ended up going through an announce table, which was pretty bad. But so now you just have Monday Night Raw. I feel like Monday Night Raw is slowly kind of revolving around the Judgment Day, which kind of hints at like maybe perhaps, kind of building up that breakup to something that, that's, like a foregone conclusion instead of speculation. So, yeah. All right, moving on. We have our WWE NXT preview. It has already aired on the East Coast. It's airing right now on the West Coast. Can't wait to watch it on the USA Network. So do not go anywhere. We're going to dive right on into this.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit. A stupid myth, you choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. If you're just tuning in, you recently missed our WWE Monday Night Raw review, but don't worry, you can catch it on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate playlist on YouTube, so make sure you check that out. So we're going to dive into our WWE NXT preview, but before we move on forward into that, I want to remind you guys to always use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Give me your questions. Give me some things that you guys want to ponder about in terms of wrestling. Give me your predictions. You guys can host the show as well. This is ultimately, ran by the GSMC Sports Network, but we're wrestling fans. Wrestling fans, we kind of thrive on different perspectives in terms of, the subject matter. Obviously, if you keep agreeing with the same guy, conversations or even the podcast can't really be, that entertaining. So, definitely will love audience engagement 1,010%. Don't be afraid to, send a chat. There is no wrong answers. There is no, you can say, hey, I love The Rock. Like, that's cool. And I'll be like, dude, that's awesome. Like, I like them, The Tooth Fairy. I'm just kidding. No. But no, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. So yeah, make sure you like and subscribe to the show. This really honestly really does help the show, guys. Just put your questions on the top. So don't be afraid to hit that GSMCsports.net. You hit the tips and donations link. Tell me what's said. Show me what's said. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about our WWE NXT preview. This is the final stop before Battleground, so this is going to have a lot of fallout from the last couple of weeks of the NXT, brand shows. A lot of Trick Williams, probably a lot of Lola Vice, a lot of Shayna Baszler, just a lot of, we have Damon Kemp is going to fight Tony D'Angelo for the Heritage Cup. The family right now has control of the cup, which is, Solamente basically on, the Don, Tony D'Angelo. Nothing against Stacks or anything like that, but Tony D'Angelo, he's just the man. He's just the man. I liked how he came so close to beating Ilya Dragunov for that WWE NXT World Heavyweight Championship match at Stand and Deliver in April. I feel like Tony D'Angelo is going to win. I wouldn't see any reason why, Damon Kemp, unless because the North Quarter Catch Crew without Drew Gulak, it's not the same. It's different. Maybe perhaps we see someone step up and help out the No Quarter Catch Crew, but that's a big ass maybe. Like I said, I have not checked social media. I have no idea what has happened. Maybe that did happen. Maybe it didn't. Maybe I sound like a complete idiot right now. But I just feel like they need guidance. They do need guidance. Losing Drew Gulak wasn't good. Definitely, not at all. But, his contract did expire. He wasn't really released from the WWE. They just never really, signed another contract. You can't really, blame them for that. Out with the old, in with the new. When you're trying to promote new superstars, you have to ultimately kind of let go of some of the, just some of the old guys, like Drew Gulak was there and he wrestled here and there, but he was more or less kind of like the mouth. He was the promoter and stuff like that. And I don't know. I feel like Triple H or Paul Levesque or no, Shawn Michaels, because he's the head of creative in NXT. He's going to try to find someone to replace that Drew Gulak role within the No Quarter Catch Crew because that team's good. Charlie Dempsey, obviously you have Kemp, and I forgot the other guy's name. But these are talented individuals. Like when Drew Gulak was representing them, they were kind of like a prominent storyline on WWE NXT week in and week out. So I just feel like they need that other person. I feel like if they don't get that other person, these three superstars would probably kind of, their careers would maybe potentially go down the toilet because they were once Heritage Cup champions. They lost it to Tony D'Angelo and the family. So it should be interesting to kind of see how that all plays out tonight. Next, we see Thea Hale will finally get her hands on Jasmine Nix throughout the week. Thea Hale has been getting dragged through the mud with Jasmine Nix, JC Jane, breaking her nose and being through surgery and stuff like that. Jasmine Nix's best friend, former best friend they were with former best friends with Thea Hale, but they used Thea. So it's gonna be it's. I feel like Thea Hale is kind of like a stick of dynamite. Like, you know what I mean? Like dynamite comes in small packages, but once she gets going, she can definitely be up there in terms of the high competitors on the mid card, potentially maybe on the main card. Maybe she could if she gets really, really pissed off, she can use that rage to kind of beat someone like Roxanne Perez. But let's see if she holds on to the championship after, NXT Battleground. So my prediction, I probably see out of all this, I could probably see Thea Hale winning this match. I know right now they kind of have that thing that like Chase U Civil War going on with the whole Rich Holland thing and stuff like that. Could be highly distracting. So I know it should be interesting. Now we're gonna get an inside look at Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler's NXT Underground match. Should be pretty awesome. It's not that I'm not a fan of it. It's just that I'm not used to seeing it, especially within the WWE kind of ring with no ropes or anything like that. So obviously it's Battleground is taking place at the UFC Apex Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. So it should be interesting. Should be pretty cool to kind of see what Lola Vice has in store because Shayna Baszler, she has such a great MMA and martial arts background and everything like that. UFC. She's been with the WWE for the longest time. I just don't feel like, I don't know, Lola Vice, she's gonna have to do something tonight to get the momentum on her side because Shayna Baszler is gonna rip her head off. She's gonna kill her. I could imagine maybe Lola Vice coming out, maybe targeting a knee or targeting like an elbow or something like that. And you have the guy, the announcer on NXT, be like, "Oh, she has a match on, Battleground. She's softening her up." So that's the only reason, perhaps maybe Lola Vice might even have a spitballs chance against Shayna Baszler. Next, we're going to get into Ethan Page. Will explain his attack on Trick Williams. Um, Huge shocker, if it wasn't enough to see Jordan Grace on WWE soil, you saw Ethan Page, former AEW superstar, attack Trick Williams. And are they going to fight at NXT Battleground? Perhaps. Right now, the main event has not been announced yet. So this probably could be, where Trick Williams comes out, maybe confronts Ethan Page and be like, "Hey, if you want a piece of me so bad, I'll fight you at NXT Battleground." And be like, "Oh, put on that championship on the line." And he's like, "To get my hands on you, you got it. Anything." Like, you know what I mean? So I think something's going to happen with that. So it should be pretty interesting. We will see more of Sexy Red, of course, within the WWE NXT from here on out. You're going to hear words from Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez is going to talk either backstage with the interview, or she's going to be in Ava's office, or she's going to, come out and watch Jordan Grace's match. Jordan Grace is set to make her, the first time ever, a TNA Knockouts World Champion, will step foot into a WWE ring. Jordan Grace against Stevie Turner. Stevie Turner I don't really think she has a chance against the best wrestler in the world. Jordan Grace has been number one on my women's power rankings for 2 weeks running. So definitely think it's crazy. Definitely think everything. I can imagine as soon as the match ends, you're going to see Roxanne Perez come out, hold her title, and then you're going to have Jordan Grace holding their title. They're going to be face to face, before, so, that's honestly, that's how I think NXT will end. It'd be kind of interesting to see if they let the girls be the main event, Roxanne Perez and Jordan Grace. The best thing about WWE NXT has been their women's division. It's kind of made them prominent throughout. I think I remember, ever since I started watching WWE NXT, I was like, man, they're really putting a really emphasis on the women, which is awesome, which is great. And nothing's falls short of spectacular having the TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace, and of course the always scrappy, the always determined Roxanne Perez. So yeah. All right, so that was my WWE NXT preview. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get into Battleground. Back to back, we're going to talk about WWE NXT. So don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. If you just joined us today, right now, I want to remind you guys that we do have videos that are uploaded every night where I talk about the segments. If you missed our WWE Monday Night Raw review and our WWE NXT preview, make sure you check those out. But we're going to dig into WWE NXT Battleground preview. We're going to get into that momentarily. But before we move on, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Give me your questions, comments, concerns, your predictions. Let me know your favorite matches. Heading toward Battleground, let me know how you felt like, Monday Night Raw went. Would love to hear from you guys. The best thing about podcasting is audience engagement. Absolutely love it 110%. So, don't be afraid. Don't be too shy. All right, so we're going to move on to our WWE NXT Battleground talk. So, NXT Battleground is the first ever WWE event that will take place technically on UFC soil. We're going to be live at the UFC Apex Center on Saturday? No, on Sunday. I think it's on Sunday. On Sunday. So, it's going to be pretty cool. Honestly, I'm really intrigued on how you will see TKO kind of incorporate some of the UFC style inside of WWE in terms of like commercials, backstage promotions, interviews, maybe merchandising on the ring or something like that. It's going to be interesting to kind of see what Dana White kind of has in store because this is, like I said before, the first ever they're kind of having that at the UFC. Ultimately, it is a WWE event, but it's the UFC's house. So, much like an adult or a person, once when you go to someone's house, you kind of let them take the reins and you kind of respect their style. You kind of have to adapt to that. You know what I mean? So, definitely interesting to kind of see how that's going to be kind of moving forward. And, kind of get, obviously we kind of have our host, Sexy Red. There was a comment made by Brooks Jensen, former NXT star. He said, and I quote, "It hurts when you once bust your ass off in the performance center for recognition to be respected by your bosses and your peers, only to be exiled and see crap like this." And the crap they see like this, obviously he's speaking on behalf of what Booker T said about Lola Vice and Sexy Red, how they should be in a twerking competition. Essentially, and of course you had Cameron Grimes, another WWE NXT star, and I think he was on Raw or SmackDown. He had the similar views about Sexy Red within the WWE. And you can have a lot of hate. You can have a lot of hate. Um, I'm not really like at first when I saw Sexy Red, I was like, okay, why? But I know why they're doing it. It's not like, it's not like it's something that is something that's foreign. It's something that WWE probably hasn't done in the past. You saw Pamela Anderson at WrestleMania. You've seen like people like that. And so, I don't know. I just think obviously there's probably a little animosity. He's probably a little pissed off because he got basically released by NXT to kind of leave, some salary cap open so they can sign, superstars, artists, entertainers, kind of like Sexy Red, but she's a die hard wrestling fan, so you got to respect that. And right now she's probably one of the biggest hip hop like rap entertainment stars out there right now. She does have explicit song titles and lyrics, but that kind of, a lot of people say that possibly could kind of hint toward like perhaps like a new attitude kind of era. You know what I mean? I know Paul Levesque has, ever since TKO took over, you had The Rock as a chairman, you have him and Triple H and Shawn Michaels kind of running the show back there. And it wouldn't, that's kind of what the Attitude Era was about. Like sometimes a little blood, sometimes a little cursing, sometimes a little sexual appeal. Like, and it's not like it's like I said before, it's not like it's on purpose, and it's not like they're just doing this for like brand exposure and stuff like that. They're just playing their cards right. WWE is just playing their cards right 1,010%. Of course, during NXT, after the WWE draft, you had big names like Carmelo Hayes. You had Ilya Dragunov, Lyra Valkyria. You've seen Blair Davenport. WWE NXT needs to bring attraction to the brand, and it's like I said, I don't feel like they're kind of piggybacking the success on Sexy Red, but adding her, wouldn't hurt. So kind of have to open your eyes to kind of the real reason why this is probably happening. So, all right, getting into our first match, we have our NXT North American Women's Champion 6-woman ladder match. This is an inaugural match. This title was announced by Ava about like a month ago, I want to say. And then they've had qualifying matches just to find out who's going to win. Who's going to win? It's going to be either Lash Legend, Mi Chen, Fallon Henley, Jada Parker, Sol Ruka, and Kaylani Jordan. My pick for the longest time was actually Sol Ruka, but it's been confirmed that I think she has an ACL injury. Don't quote me on this. I was reading some, ringside news, updates and stuff like that. So if that's the case, I don't think she's going to win the match, which sucks because of her enthusiasm, her skill set inside the ring. And I don't know, it's just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So I don't think Last Legend really can hold the title at this moment. She's been part of Metaphor, not like really the huge wrestling kind of type. When she goes in the ring, like she, proves herself. that she belongs in the WWE. She can wrestle if she has to, but I don't know. I think it'd be kind of bad for NXT to kind of put the strap around her. Michin's been throughout the wrestling ranks. She's been part of the OC, the SmackDown, the Raw. I don't really see her winning. It'd be kind of interesting to see what they do, and if they do give her the title. But to be honest, brutally honest, I think my pick is probably Jada Parker. I think Jada Parker is going to go up there. She's going to grab that title and be your inaugural WWE North American Women's Champion. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, if you have something different, hit me up in the chat. Tell me how you guys feel. But it's going to be a good match. It's going to be a great match. A lot of high flying. These women obviously are going to go out there and tear the house down. Keep proving why WWE NXT is a huge high ground for the women's division. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting to kind of see what happens with that. All right, next we have the the NXT Women's World Championship match between the TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace against Roxanne Perez. I think, oh man, it's gonna be hard because I feel like if they did all of this just for Jordynne Grace to lose to Roxanne Perez, it would kind of diminish Jordynne's value. But if Jordynne wins, then she's a double champion, opening up the forbidden door that's been closed by WWE for so long between TNA and WWE. So there would just have to be some smart bookings. I really, really honestly hope this match isn't interrupted. I hope that, doesn't end a cheap way. I feel like WWE for sure needs to have a winner and a loser, but if I'm picking right now, I'm going 85%. It's going to be Jordynne Grace. It's going to be Jordynne Grace. She's definitely one of the best wrestlers in the world, in my opinion, but, anything can go in terms of sports entertainment, excuse me. Next, we have the Men's North American Championship. We have Obafemi against Wesley against Joey Coffey. I really don't want Wesley to win, and I'm not trying to be like a jerk, or I'm not trying to, oh, Eric, why, this guy went through so much, man. This guy was told he couldn't wrestle, walk again, and then he busted his ass off. He's the biggest reigning NXT North American champion. But I don't know. If they give him the title so quick, it just seems like it's just too fake. Does that make sense? Or not fake, but like choreographed? Or it just seems like it's like a soap opera? Like it just seems like, I don't know. I feel like you can't really dog the audience like that, bro. Like people love Wesley, yes. Obafemi has been absolutely dominant throughout his reign of the North American Championship. I feel like he wins. I don't feel Coffey. He probably has maybe like a 3% chance of winning. I give Obafemi a 67 chance, and of course I give Wesley like a 30% chance because I don't know. But then like that's just me. I respect Wesley 1,010%. It's not like I don't, but I don't know. You kind of have to play it smart here. All right, next we have this underground match between Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler. These guys teamed together at Stand and Deliver to fight Natalia and Carmen Petrovic. But it just, like I said before, Lola Vice has to find a way on tonight's NXT to try to do something. I don't really understand how she would be able to even content with Shayna Baszler, how she would even be able to match her, her animosity, her skill set, her submission skills, her striking abilities, her grappling. Or maybe I'm thinking too deep into this, like a UFC fan. But like Lola Vice has to come out and try to injure the knee or something. Maybe like an elbow, maybe like a hand or something like that. So it's gonna be interesting to find out. But I'm at 95%. Shayna Baszler takes down Lola Vice. All right, and finally we have our NXT World Tag Team Championship match. We have the OC against the defending champions, Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Love the way they've done Nathan Frazier and Axiom so long. I like the way, once when they beat the Wolf Dogs, I was like, okay. I feel like they just kind of beat them just to kind of give a reason for Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin to get drafted to WWE, Raw, or SmackDown. But then you had the AOP come out, and I thought for sure their time was up. But it wasn't. It wasn't. And right now, you had Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson kind of float around WWE for the longest time. I don't even know if they've ever had a championship. They might have won a Raw Tag Team Championship, ages ago when you had it's still a brand split, but I feel like when you kind of had the hardcore brand split. And what I mean by that, when you had the weird blue looking SmackDown World title, you had the weird red looking, with the Trojan helmets, the Raw Tag Team Champions, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Raw Women's Champion. Like that was the extreme brand split. Like now we kind of have a mellow brand split where you kind of got rid of those danky belts. And I don't know. I just feel like the OC has been around for so long, and with the way AJ Styles kind of attacked Cody Rhodes on Friday Night SmackDown, I feel like that's a foreshadowing that this is interesting because you have the Arsenal attack against the technical and the power within Luke Gallows. Oh man, this is going to be a toss up. I think it's 50-50 right now. I can't really give you an answer. 50-50, we have Frazier, Axiom at 50 and the OC at 50. I can't pick. I can't pick. And forcing me to pick would be absolutely disrespectful. I'm just kidding. No. Moving on. So that was my WWE NXT Battleground preview. Don't go anywhere because we're going to get into New Japan Professional Wrestling's Dominion that's happening also on June 9th. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the matches, my predictions, and analysis. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, so we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your boy E here on the mic, talking wrestling, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern. If you just tuned in, we recently talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We talked about our WWE NXT preview, our WWE NXT Battleground preview, and now we're going to get into some New Japan Professional Wrestling. So you guys got to forgive me if I mispronounce these names. Most likely I am going to, so don't hate me. So let's go ahead and dig right on into it. First match we have on the card for NJPW's Dominion. I got to get used to that because I'm not used to talking New Japan Professional Wrestling, but this is going to be pretty badass. It's going to be pretty cool. So we have Tetsuya Naito against Callum Newman. Newman finally gets his hands on Naito after so long. Callum push the limits of the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion? Should be pretty interesting. My prediction would probably be, I don't know. Obviously, you kind of have Naito as a former IWGP champion. This is just too close to call. I don't want to pull in a WWE NXT World Tag Team Battleground thing where I'm saying 50-50. But give it. You know what? I'm gonna say give me the former IWGP champion. I feel like he's going to beat Newman. So yeah, definitely 110%. All right, kind of moving on, we have the TMDK, which consists of Koji Fujita, Robbie Eagles, and Zack Sabre Jr. against Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, and LJ Cleary. The KOP is, I don't know, it's going to be a great match. I feel like it's going to be a great match. Obviously, something that WWE, I feel like they need to adapt in terms of professional wrestling, is this trios match, this trios championship, the 6-man championship. If I had to put a lid on it, I watched highlights of all three of these, all three of the guys on the right side. But but I'm not trying to play favoritism. Anybody could win. Anybody can win. I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, and LJ Cleary to win this match. So it should be pretty interesting. All right, next we have the KOPW 2024 Storm Catch Rules match. You have Great Okan against Yuya Yumura's first title defense against the man he won it from. I love that. I love that because you see that a lot in WWE, how they would go back and forth, especially like when you had that Sasha Banks and the Charlotte Flair kind of rivalry where they would win it from one another. They take like a month break, and then they would become the number one contenders once again, and they fight each other. And then the other one will win. I think something that Sasha Banks said, or I think it was either Flair or Banks, who said iron sharpens iron. They had the Hell in the Cell match, and it was pretty cool. If I had to, honestly, I'm going to pick. I think in his first title defense, Yumura will defend successfully. But that's just me. That's just me. 110%. All right, next we have the Never Openweight Six-Man Tag Team Championships. Bolton Uleg, Turo Ayano, and Hiroshi Tanasha against Los Inglourables de Japan. You have Bushi, you have Hiromu Takahashi, and Yoda Tutsi. So, like I said, do not hate me for mispronouncing these words. This is, I'm trying to become a better wrestling fan here, trying to dip my feet into, the ambiguous, something that I've never even thought about watching before. But I heard a lot, a lot of good wrestlers actually take time to go down to New Japan Professional Wrestling because you see different skill set. You get some of the best wrestlers in the entire world. Obviously, you had Cody Rhodes go down there. You've had Kenny Omega. You've had the Young Bucks. You had Kazuchika Okada. And I think New Japan Wrestling, I wish there was like more of like a way to kind of watch it easily. Obviously there probably is, but I'm stuck with cable television. I I have to, record, Raw and SmackDown because it airs on at like 5 o'clock and I gotta wait till like 8, which is cool. Because for me watching wrestling growing up, it was always dark outside. So yeah, that kind of, how I feel about that. So I've had to pick a winner. I think I'm gonna pick Bolin Ulig, Toru Yono, and Hiroshi Tanasha to win this match. And that's not because that was easier to pronounce than the other guys. Definitely not. All right. So next we have the NWGP World Television Championship match. You have Jeff Cobb against Tomohiro Ishii. Cobb has welcomed every challenger there is in terms of competitors in terms of New Japan Professional Wrestling. Respect that, but Ishii has scored a pinfall over Cobb, so this is obviously probably the biggest toss-up. This is going to be a great match. Two big guys. These guys look absolutely strapped. These guys absolutely look like they can kick each other's ass just looking at each other. So I have a 50-50 battle here. Got to respect Cobb's his kind of his determination, and you got to respect Ishii's willingness to kind of fight for whatever he wants. Obviously if you have the underdog, I would probably pick Ishii, but this is like a 49-51% kind of match, you know what I mean? Or it could go the other way, or Cobb could score the victory. Obviously when you're the champion, you are most likely going to be the favorite. So I think have that 51 slightest. I'm going to have to pick Cobb on that one. So yeah, and we're gonna keep moving on here. So then we're gonna go on to our next match. We have the New Japan Professional Wrestling Strong and the IWGP Tag Team Championships to the Tornado Elimination match, which is absolutely freaking badass. You're gonna have all 16, not 16. You're gonna have all 80 of these guys representing their tag teams fighting in the ring at the same time via elimination match. It should be pretty badass. I honestly, out of all the matches, I don't know why I love like weird stipulations, but that's just the wrestling fan in me. So you have the Tornado match, 4-way match, winner take all. Winner becomes double champion. We have the Bullet Club, which consists of Chase Owens and Cantana against Gorillas of Destiny, Hiku Leo, and El Fantasma. Then you have TM DK, Shane Hayes, and Mikey Nichols. And against the Bishamon, you have Hiroki Goto and Yoshihoshi. This is going to be a pretty good match. I honestly not going to lie to you guys. I never really watched any of these guys wrestle, but just basically based on the tag team name, I'm probably gonna have to go with Gorillas of Destiny. That just sounds badass. Like if I had a tag team, like what's your tag team? I'd be like, we're the Gorillas of Destiny. Like that just sounds badass. That just sounds so fun. That just sounds so cool. So yeah, definitely, rooting for the Gorillas of Destiny there. All right, next we have the never open weight championship match between Haner and Shingo Tagachi. So these guys traded wins amongst each other, amongst competitors. These guys have the utmost absolute respect for one another. Haner was sidelined in 3 months in 2024, due to like a mishap. He was supposed to land on a table, didn't really happen. Botched move. That's what happens in terms of professional wrestling. Injuries and accidents do happen. But if I had to pick a guy, I guess coming back from an injury, I can see how hungry Haner is. Sidelined for 3 months. I'm gonna say he's gonna win. I'm gonna say he's gonna pick up this victory. He looks like he could definitely, he looks like he could fight Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, and who's that guy? Who's the British guy in all the action movies? What's his name? Oh, Jason Statham. Jason Statham. Like, I don't know. He just looks like he can, be the next champion. Definitely will respect, obviously in the IWGP world, you kind of have all these guys from multiple demographics. So that's kind of cool. That's something you got to respect about New Japan Professional Wrestling. All right, so we have a double main event. Our first main event, we have Jon Moxley, the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, will fight in a lumberjack match against Evil. Will Jon Moxley continue his Smash Mouth title reign and complete and kick ass, or will Evil bring forth the dark era within the New Japan Professional Wrestling? Should be interesting. Should be badass. You've seen Jon Moxley kind of dip his foot into AEW here from time to time, so. I feel like he's on a roll, man. I feel like he's on a roll. He's beaten so many good guys lately. That he's beaten Romero, he's beaten Takeshita, and you can't really stop this guy. You can't stop Jon Moxley. So I'm going to pick Jon Moxley. I think he's going to retain this IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And finally, we have the main event, the best of the Super Junior final. We have El Desperado against Taiji Ishimori. Both competitors have came close in the past, but fell short thanks to Hiromu Takahashi in the past. Obviously, that was not the case this year for Ishimori, who defeated Takahashi in the tournament, but this is where Desperado won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in the past, so that that success could linger in your mind. It's kind of like having home field advantage. Like, the Boston Celtics are going to go to the Garden and probably win their first 2 games. And then you go back to Dallas, it's a whole different atmosphere. Obviously they have those connections with not just the fans, not just the aroma, but more or less just kind of like, I don't know, like, how sometimes you go somewhere, you go to your favorite restaurant, you go to an Angels game, you go to a football game, and then you go to the bathroom, or you smell the concession stands where the stadium touches all 5 senses, and you're like, oh man, this feels so good. There's no doubt in my mind, I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb and pick El Desperado to win this tournament. So yeah, hope you guys like my NJPW's Dominion preview and analysis. But hey guys, so we're currently almost out of time. I always do this to you guys, where we're going to try to finish up our 5th segment right quick. Do not go anywhere. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for Amarin Soccer Podcast, so I apologize, but you're stuck with this guy. Just kidding. Moving on. So we're going to talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history. Do not go anywhere. Grab your favorite snack and your favorite beverage and stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Just kind of reiterate what we talked about. First segment 1, we talked about Monday Night Raw review. Segment 2, WWE NXT preview. Segment 3, WWE NXT Battleground. Segment 4, we talked about our NJPW. Ooh, I got it right. Old Dominion, which is kind of going, which is kind of going pretty. It's gonna be pretty badass. Can't wait to watch it. It's live, June 9th on this Sunday. Honestly, I'm thinking about, trying to find a way to watch it because I have Sundays off. But, without further gilding the lily and, moving on because we are running out of time, we're going to go ahead and jump right into our segment 5, our Today in Wrestling History. So let's go ahead and start with our Today's in Wrestling History. In 2002, at SmackDown in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, you had Billy and Chuck defeat Rico and Rikishi to win the tag team titles, which is actually pretty badass. I like that because I remember watching these guys growing up. I don't know if any of you guys remember Chuck Palumbo in WCW. The moment he came to, with Billy Gunn, and then, when they did have Rico as like a manager, they were kind of these metrosexual kind of guys, like who cared about like fashion, the way that they were groomed, and they even had the weird music like "You look so," like it's just like kind of like, not, I don't want to say a boy band kind of kind of feel to it, but kind of like these male models that are absolutely into each other, but not in that way. They were just best friends. You sickos. I'm just kidding. No, they were. It was pretty cool. It was pretty darn entertaining. 1,010%. So happy for that. Chuck Palumbo, one of the other wrestlers outside WCW. I think a couple of podcasts ago I talked how Rhino was the first ever ECW superstar to win. The Hardcore Championship match. But at this, you had Chuck Palumbo win, of course, with Billy Gunn. So I thought that was, pretty darn cool. So yeah. All right. So guys, you guys might be bailed out today. Once again. Okay, no, it works now. See, I don't know why OBS likes to mess with me. Sometimes technology is your friend, sometimes it's not. All right, in 2011, Mick Foley was granted his release from TNA Impact Wrestling, which included a TNA Heavyweight title run, which kind of surprises me because I was like, once when Mankind or Mick Foley, Cactus Jack Dulo, however you want to refer to him, once when he left the WWE, I was kind of like, okay, this guy's gonna call it quits. He has nothing left in the tank. Absolutely, he's just like this ultimate underdog. Mick, Foley's baby boy, like was he from Staten? No, it wasn't Staten Island. Rhode Island. Yes, Rhode Island. He was from Rhode Island, I think. Don't quote me on that. But gotta respect Mick Foley throughout all the, his tenureship in terms of WWE. He took an ass beating. My man fell off of 20-foot high Hell in the Cell. Man, thumbtacks thrown in the dumpster, caught on fire. Oh man, Mick Foley, mucho respect, bro. Mucho respect. Next, we have in 2017, WWE aired the pay-per-view Extreme Rules at the Royal Farms Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. This is where you saw The Miz take down Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship, which was kind of shocking because Dean Ambrose, I feel like this was kind of heading toward, a different character development, because I knew after this there was kind of different speculation. Like that whole 2018, 2019 was really bad for WWE. You had, I think Dean Ambrose turned into the moral compass and stuff like it was just really dumb and stupid. Don't ever look back on wrestling and watch those years of WWE. Those are no years. Just kidding, no. Yeah, like I said before, The Miz wins. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So gotta respect Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, and The Miz. Also, a match that took place, you saw The Bar. The Bar, who was created by Mick Foley, defeated the Hardy Boys in a steel cage match to win the Raw Tag Team titles. I don't understand why the Hardy Boys kind of got a run at the Tag Team titles. Once again, I felt like this was that WrestleMania. No, I could be wrong. Maybe, just maybe, this could be that WrestleMania I was talking about, how the New Day were the host, and people were expecting, you had Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, and you had Enzo Amore and Big Cass, and like then they all of a sudden like nostalgia comes back. Oh, the Hardy Boys are coming back. Like definitely screwed over a couple of tag teams that probably had a chance to develop. But you know how Vince McMahon loved his nostalgia. Definitely loved that control of, definitely loved Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy. Occasionally, I guess. So you had the Bar win. Love Sheamus, love Cesaro when we were together. When they were together, I remember watching them live. So it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool. And then you had that the fatal five way to find out who's going to fight Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. You had this match: Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was able to pick up the victory. Samoa Joe was so good in the WWE. I know he left WWE basically because, like, mostly because of the control factor of the every character in terms of creative, and he went to AEW and be like, oh, like these guys, they kind of like had a tight leash on you. I need to some kind of room to breathe. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It should be interesting to kind of see where's Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe has been, it's been documented. He said in an article that he's ready to jump back into the main card. He's ready to jump back into the world heavyweight title picture. Will he have a rematch with Spur Strickland? Perhaps it could be, but I don't know. This was actually a good match. I remember watching this match. It wasn't bad. And finally, in 2007, Ric Flair was invited to go to the NWA to accept his Hall of Fame, but much to his chagrin, WWE urged him not to. I don't know why they would do that. That kind of sounds kind of messed up. But, well, back in the day, not really. Because, like, oh, you're going to go to a rival company, and you're going to accept the Hall of Fame thing. He's a two-time Hall of Famer within the WWE. He's won everything in the NWA. He's been heavyweight champion, television in the United States, also tag team. He's also a WCW Triple Crown winner. So Ric Flair's kind of done it all. He's kind of, he's an amazing superstar, one of the best wrestlers in the whole entire world. A lot of people have him up there within within their Mount Rushmore. I know a guy. I know my man out there. My man Andrew Tate, but I love Ric Flair, absolutely, but I wouldn't understand why you want to go to. Yeah, eventually, he did go. Eventually, he did go to the NWA to give the speech and everything like that, which is kind of cool. Respect, Rick. Respect. So yeah. All right. So, guys, once again, you are through with me. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Once again, the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast is live on the GSMC Sports Network every day, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And hope you guys like the show. 1,010%. And a little fettuccine 68. Let's see what he has to say, my man. So when are we going to see WWE talent on TNA? I feel like it's going to be really, really soon. I think I mentioned this before, that Natalya was going to beat, she was going to win on Monday Night Raw, but she lost. But I don't know. It's kind of a hard question. It's kind of a hard question because I don't know if they kind of just want Jordan Grace and that's the end of it. But I know Xavier Woods and Drew McIntyre both former TNA champions, both former superstars. So they're kind of hinting at potentially crossing brands, which would be absolutely badass. I think it'd be really good for both companies. And even in an interview, Shawn Michaels said, when they asked, is this the last we're going to see TNA inside a WWE ring? And he says, honestly, don't be too surprised. Don't be too surprised if, we keep going at this. We keep going to this water well of just awesome ideas, awesome promotions, awesome superstars that TNA have that they've kind of had for the longest time. Like I said before, when AJ Styles came to the WWE, Vince McMahon didn't even know who the hell he was. He more or less just kind of took the word of like other WWE creative officers and stuff like that. And that's kind of stupid. That's kind of crazy. But there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to see. I hope we see WWE talent on TNA. Should be pretty interesting. Thank you once again for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to remind you guys to support us here at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity. So please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Remember to leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you guys to like us on Twitter/X, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Like I always say, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we have sports with Jeremy. We have sports with my man TJ. We also have basketball with Nelson, the NBA playoffs heating up. We have Christopher with the fantasy sports podcast, which I'm going to be on Friday. So don't miss that. It's gonna be pretty badass. Put a wrestling guy in any podcast. It's gonna be great. Tune into the Andrew Tate show as well. Woman, hoops and heels. We have 2 hosts now. We're gonna dig into your one-stop shop for women's sports. It's gonna be badass. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Don't miss out on that. Do not miss out on being a part of this GSMC Sports bloodline, because unlike ESPN, unlike Fox Sports, unlike CBS, like you don't need a subscription. You can watch it absolutely free. We have new shows. We have great podcasters, have passion for sports. Guarantee you're going to fall in love with it just like I have. So once again, thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. And hey, have an amazing day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.